Brian, and I will be exploring some key components and applications of the Constructivist Learning Theory. Now, Constructivism is a theory on how people learn. Students individually discover and transform complex information and make it their own. They construct their understanding and knowledge of the world through experiencing things and reflecting on those experiences. They're constantly checking new information against old rules and then revising the rules when they need to be changed. In this theory, students are active learners. It's a student-centered classroom, and the teacher is the guide on the side or the facilitator. The teacher's role is to help students to construct knowledge rather than reproduce facts. Another way to look at it is a spiral. When students reflect on their experiences, they find that their ideas are gaining complexity and power, and they develop increasingly strong abilities to integrate new information. And that is the main role of the teacher, is to encourage this learning and reflection process. There's two main contributors to this theory, Lev Vygotsky and Jean Piaget. This theory pulls heavily on both of their works. Both emphasize that cognitive change takes place only when preconceived concepts go through a process of disequilibration. Both stress the social nature of learning, and both suggested the use of mixed ability learning groups to promote conceptual change. Now, Vygotsky had four key principles from his theories that make up constructive learning. That is social learning, where children learn through joint interactions with adults and peers. Zone of proximal development marks the range of tasks that the child might not be able to do alone, but with their assistance of peers and adults, they're able to complete the task. Cognitive apprenticeship is the process by which learners gradually acquire expertise through interaction with an expert or an adult or peer. Now, mediated learning is the idea that students should be given complex, difficult, realistic tasks and then be given enough help to complete these tasks. Jean Piaget had two components to adaptation, and that is assimilation and accommodation. Now, information is organized into schemes about how things work. Now, when the information comes in and it fits into an existing scheme, it's assimilation. Now, when the information does not fit into this existing scheme, it needs to be accommodated to fit the new information. Now, equilibration is the process of restoring balance between present understanding and new experience. And together, all of these create new learning. Some other components of this theory are discovery learning, and that is where students are encouraged to have their own experiences and involvement with the concepts and principles, to conduct experiments that permit them to discover the principles for themselves. Bruner was an advocate of discovery learning, and another key component to this theory, I believe, is scaffolding, and that is providing assistance when the student needs support. And then as the student becomes more capable, you're diminishing your support, and then you're handing over responsibility to the child when the child is ready. Now, the constructivist theory have an ideal student in mind, and that is the self-regulated learner. Now, the self-regulated learner is one who has knowledge of effective learning strategies, and they know how and when to use them. So what goes on in the classroom? Constructivist classroom is mainly problem solving. Students use inquiry methods to ask questions, investigate a topic, and use a variety of resources to find solutions and answers. Now, as students explore the topic, they draw conclusions, and the exploration continues, and they revisit the conclusions. And then exploration of questions leads to more questions. Now, the role of the student and the teacher is important in this theory because it lets each other know what is expected of them. Now, the role of students is actively a participant in their own education. Students have to accommodate and assimilate new information with their current understanding. One important aspect of controlling their own learning is the process of reflecting on their experiences. Students begin their study with preconceived notions. They already have something set in their mind before they even start class that day. Okay, students are very reluctant to give up their established ideas, and they may reject new information that challenges their prior learning. Learners need to use and test their ideas and skills and information through relevant activities. Students need to know how to learn or change their thinking or learning style. They need to learn to learn. Because knowledge is so communally based, learners deserve access to knowledge of different communities. They need new lenses to see things in a new way. Learners need guidance through their zone of proximal development. Tutors and peers play a vital role in learning. Now, for the teacher, the educator should consider the knowledge and experience that students bring to class. Learners construct their knowledge through a process of active inquiry. Discovery is facilitated by providing the necessary resources. Knowledge is actively constructed, and learning is presented as a process of active discovery. Teachers should provide assistance with the simulation of new and old knowledge. Learning programs should be sufficiently flexible to permit development along the lines of student inquiry. Due to its interpretive nature, each student will interpret information in different ways. Teachers should create situations where the students feel safe questioning and reflecting on their own processes. The teacher should present authentic tasks to contextualize learning through real-world, case-based learning environments. The teacher should support collaboration in constructing knowledge. The teacher should not encourage students to compete against each other. Encourage development through intersubjectivity. The teacher should provide scaffolding at the right time and at the right level for the student. Provide opportunities for expert and less expert participants to learn from each other. Now, what are things that you can do in your real-world classroom? Well, you can encourage team working and collaboration. You can promote discussions or debates. Set up study groups for peer learning. Allocate a small portion of grades for peer assessment and train students in the process and criteria. Show students models of good practice in essay writing or project work. Be aware of your own role as a model of the way things are done. Be explicit about your professional values and your ethical dimensions of your subject. How to assess your students. Your students, you should be able to measure what they're learning, and you do that through assessing. Constructivists believe that assessment should be used as a tool to enhance both the student's learning and the teacher's understanding of student progress. It should not be used as an accountability tool that stresses the student out or demoralizes them. The types of assessment that you should be using should be reflective journals, portfolios, case studies, group-based projects, presentations, dates, role playing, etc. And you should involve the students in the entire process of assessing. You should go through the criteria, the method, the marking, the feedback, and that way they can take it constructively and grow and learn from the experience. In summary, what a student currently believes, whether correct or incorrect, is important. Despite having the same learning experience, each individual will base their learning and understanding and meaning on what's personal to them. Understanding or constructing a meaning is an active and continuous process. Learning may involve some conceptual changes, and when students construct a new meaning, they may not believe it, but give it provisional acceptance or rejection. Students need to take responsibility for their learning. Here are my references. Thank you for watching.